Nigerian visual artists are making waves across the globe. Victor Ehikhamenor, a visual artist, is collaborating with Johnnie Walker to design a world-class logo. Good morning, Victor. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to the morning show.
Excellent. So,
Victor,
yes.
I have an idea of who you are, but can you tell us about your background and your motivation and, your work as an artist?
Well, to start with, I'm an artist from Edo State, from Udomi Owesan, to be very specific. Been an artist for a very long time. Grew up in Edo State, went to Ambrose Ali University. And since then, I've worked for different places. I've worked in different places beside art making as well. But over the past 10 to 15 years, I've been actively involved in making art in Nigeria, especially having my studio in Lagos here. So I'm doing a couple of things, including being one of the first artists to go to Venice Biennale in 2017 with two other artists, Pedro Alatishe and Kudus Onikeku, which was curated by Adenrele Shonario, who owns Rele Gallery. So in a nutshell, that has been how far it has gone so far up until now. So yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So who would you say, or what would you say was your earliest influence within the art space?
I would say growing up in the village was a huge influence because you have to realize that we have a lot of arts in the villages in Nigeria, different ones, 2Ds, architecture, places of worship, even churches, So these were a huge influence on me, So as you grow older a little bit, you start seeing other artists, the modernists like Uche Okeke, Obiora, Udechukwu, Bruce Onabrakwaye, very specifically, Uche Okeke again. So these are people that as you start growing, you start looking and seeing their references to where they are coming from, to the villages and the things that have existed in the past. But of course, if you are coming from Edo State, you have the Benin Bronzes. You have every household has a form of artist, one or the other. So it's inevitable that one has to feed off of those things. And I have an uncle who is going to be 91 this year, who has been a photographer since the 50s. He studied in New York in the 60s, came back and documented a lot of the Midwestern part of the country. So he's still very much alive. And those were my first influences and still continue to influence me. And of course, other Nigerian artists and other African artists that I'm of the same generation with, we feed off of each other,
Excellent.
Wow. That's Eni,
Yes.
the photographer.
Yes.
And I mean, because I'm an art collector myself, I just want to say, please stop being very modest, Victor. I mean, it's actually a national treasure. If you collect art and you buy art with money and you collect Victor's work, he's actually one of the biggest deal around. I mean, stop being modest here this morning. Real quick. I just had to say that. I mean, if you collect art, this is like Victor, this big deal. Looking back at your career, what are the moments and the experiences, that shared your art as a journalist? Now, one other thing you didn't tell, you were also a journalist. You created famous art pages out of Next, newspaper, Next 234 back in the days. I mean, tell us how that really feeds off, but it's more than a joy having you here today.
I mean, the beautiful thing is that once you're an artist, or as an artist, I don't have limitations of what you can do with art, So, which was what brought me to Next, and Dele Olojede and Mukhtar Bakari. We are very familiar with my work, and they wanted me to come and design Next. I've never designed newspaper before, but I had a very good mentor for about 6 months, and after that, I took it over from there. And so I mean, again, those are like some of the things that you can look into and look in the past and say these are some of the influences. And it was fun designing that paper every day, or every week as it were, So still look back with a little bit of love to that
also
project.
Famous
pages,
because a lot of people don't know you were the one that did the artwork for people like Biscos, a couple of works by Chimamanda and all of that.
Yes. And I mean, again, I apply my art to multiple things, and so that people can have access to different art, because sometimes it's a bit intimidating when works are always seen in museums and in galleries and stuff, and you begin to fence out people that are actually like in need of that to access it. I want to create something always that is accessible to a multiple cadre of the society, you know, not just to one particular part of the society, whereby the younger ones that are coming up or the ones that feel they can afford it don't have access to it. So my goal is to make sure that my work is always accessible to different people. So in book covers, even up to the Johnnie Walker bottle that I just designed now, you know, so it has been in the work for 2 years now, and, you know, a lot of people can now own a piece of it because it's a limited edition and it's made out of ceramics, you know, so yeah.
Okay, tell us more about that collaboration with Johnnie Walker, you know, how that has worked out. And in any case, you do book designs,
Yeah.
you do photography, you do visual art. You must be making a lot of money.
Dr. Patty. Yeah,
Rich artist.
This is
modest.
This is not a business show, so you know. So we get by, you know. So, yeah, they all, like I was saying before, all of this culminated into what is happening right now to actually find other avenues to create works that are accessible. You know, 2 years ago they reached out to me. It's a global program whereby they pick each artist from different regions. So there are about 9 of us around the world. You have some in China, in Brazil, and so I'm the one that is from this region covering sub-Saharan or African, you understand? You know, so you know, 2 years ago they contacted me. I looked at what they were designing or what they were proposing. I realized that it has sustainability to it. They were going to use ceramics to create it. They're going to use upcycled carbon emission ink that is made from carbon emission. And, you know, it was quite appealing to me in that sense to collaborate with them. I use it to create awareness about also what we are dealing with in Nigeria. We have pollution situations, and how do we begin to quickly mitigate that and make sure that we can also be part of that sustainability drive, whether economic or environmental or even social, you know. So all of those things tie into what I did with this collaboration. You know.
Well, thank you very much, Victor Ehikhamenor.
Thank you.
Visual artist, now collaborating with Johnnie Walker.
Thank you.
We look forward to that. Thank you
Thank you
very
very much.